Okay, so like I said, you guys had asked for more information about the choosing the savings account, money market, best option. So what I have done is I have employed my wife, and what she has done, she went through each resource each source I gave you in the document, and she determined, in her opinion, all right, you could find something completely different, but in her opinion, these were the three best options. And the three best options were City National Bank, Capital One, and HSB Direct. Okay. These were the three banks, in her opinion, that she liked best. All right. Now, your opinion, what you're looking for, can be completely different. So there's no right or wrong answer. This is what she did, uh, combined with what I did as well. For Capital One, she found that for Capital One, the type of account that she recommended was a
savings account.
All right. So for Capital One, she recommended their savings account. And what is the annual interest rate for that, dear?
It is 1.5%.
Which had an annual interest rate of 1.5%. Now, what about HSB Direct? What type of account did you recommend?
It's also one of their savings. It's called a direct savings account.
Now, what's so different about that compared to Capital One? Why is Capital One a savings account, but HSB Direct is considered a direct savings account?
So HSB also offers a Premier account, but
Well, what's a Premier account?
a Premier account gets better rates, but you also have to have a checking account with them and some other accounts linked just to get that better rate.
Okay, so for the direct savings account, it could be the only account I have open with HSB Direct, and I don't have to have any other prerequisites.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what about City National? Or what was the interest rate for HSB Direct? Which one?
1.7.
1.7. And what about City National Bank? What type of account did you think?
A CD was the best.
CD. And what's the difference between a savings account, a money market account, and a certificate of deposit, or a CD?
So the savings account is usually your basic account. It's one that just about every bank will offer, and it's at their standard rate. It's usually a lower rate, but it doesn't have to have as much involved in it. So with savings accounts, you can put in as little as $25.
All right. So, in your opinion, you would say the savings account, it's the lower tiered, more short term goal?
Yes.
And what about CDs?
CDs are usually money that you're saving for a specific goal that you also know that you can put away and not have to touch it. So it's something that you're saying, okay, I want to start planning to buy a car. I know that I need to have, say, a $2,000 down payment. If you put it in a CD, obviously there's penalties if you withdraw it early, but there's specific time frames for the CDs. You usually get a better interest rate because you're leaving that money with the bank. So if you can put aside that money and know that you don't need to touch it, then a CD usually will offer you the better rate.
Okay. So, in your opinion, it would be good starting off for the beginners to venture with savings account, and as they build their understanding and knowledge, then slowly keep the savings account, but start adding CDs for bigger goals like house, car, tuition.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what was the interest rate for that CD?
It was 0.7, and that was also for their 5-year CD.
Okay. So now, one thing to point out for the equation model, there's actually going to be two separate equations depending on the situation that you have applied. All right. If during your research, if you find a rate that says compounded annually, meaning it's only, or what's compounded?
So compounding is how often they calculate the interest on the account.
So pretty much how much money is generated at a time.
Yes.
Okay, so only once a year money will be generated.
If it's compounded annually, it's only once a year that you accrue interest.
So are you always going to accrue interest? You only get to see it once a year, or how does it work? Or is it only like one day out of 365, it's only going to generate the interest for that one day, but for the other 364, it just sits there and stares at you?
So when they're compounding interest, they're going off the balance in the account.
Okay.
On the day they decide to compound it. So if it's annually, they have a specific day that they will take the balance of your account, multiply it by your interest rate, along with the formulas that they have to determine how much interest you're making on that account.
And that's once a year.
If it's annually, that's once a year, yes.
And semi-annually, it's 2 times a year. Monthly, it's once a month. Bi-monthly, it's 2 times a month. And if it's continuously, it's every single day.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, that's going to be a significant detail that needs to be understood. If it says somewhere in compounded, and we will show you what you should be looking for the compounded portion, but if it says annually, monthly, bi-monthly, anything but continuously, you will use this. All right. The A stands for the money that you're getting. All right. The principal is how much money you started with. And it's similar to the equation that you're going to use for part 3 when you're trying to figure out the increased value of your house. All right, so it's the principal times 1 plus, all right, because we're generating money, we're not losing, the rate over how many times is compounded. All right, so if it's annual, it's once, correct? Biannual, 2 times.
Biannual would be every 2 years.
Oh, semi-annual. That's what I meant. Semi-annual. Semi-annual, not biannual. Semi-annual. And then monthly, 12. And then we will worry about continuously here in a minute. All right, so the rate divided by how many times it's compounded to a power of once again, how many times it's compounded and how many years you're looking at not touching it. And I terribly spelt monthly badly. Did not mean that I have the extra Y. All right. So you'll use this for any of those. If it's compounded continuously, that means it is generating interest every single day of the year. You'll use what's called PERT. All right. PERT is, once again, the principal that you have, the $10,000 that you're starting with. The E that's in your calculator. And then the power will be your interest rate times how many years that you are looking at on taking care of everything. All right. Now, for the Capital One account, how did you discover the compound? Where did it specify on the website?
So go to checking and savings.
All right. So going to checking and savings.
Go to 360.
Oh.
So go down to where it says bank accounts built for you.
Okay.
Click on that.
So you'll click on the little itty bitty link. Hold on, let me go back. So you'll click on checking and savings. You'll go, once it loads, you'll go to bank accounts built for you, and where it's highlighted or underlined savings and checking, you'll pretend to open one, and then where do we go from here?
Down.
All right, so we'll keep going down.
You hit read disclosures.
Okay.
And
there it is.
Compounded
all right.
and credit.
So when you're researching the compounds, generally you want to look at the disclosures, the terms of conditions. Somewhere on their website, when they go to give you the juicy details on everything, including the rate, ironically enough, for a lot of the accounts, you'll be looking for compounding and crediting. And then we have discovered that Capital One will compound monthly. So it will generate interest, meaning it will generate money for you once a month. All right. So I'm going to make a little note. That's going to be a 12. All right. So I'm going to make a little note underneath my account. That's going to be compounded for Capital One. Now, what was HSB Direct? Was it?
They were daily.
All right. So that's going to be continuously. And what was City National Bank?
It was also daily.
All right. So we have 2 continuouslys and 1 monthly. So, but generally savings accounts will be monthly, correct? Generally,
because it also fits into if they have any fees.
And then the CDs are more of your continuous.
Yes.
Okay. But it also requires you to have more money put into it, and you have to have. All right. So what we're going to do, because Capital One savings account is monthly, we are going to use this formula. And because HSB Direct and City National Bank are continuously, we're going to use PERT. All right. So on my handy dandy little sheet here, we're going to go ahead and calculate how much money we'll get after 10 years, after 25 years, and after 40 years. All right. So what we'll do is we are starting off with $10,000. That is what your uncle is giving you. All right. 1 plus, because remember, we have to go up. And the interest rate is 1.5%. Now remember, percentage means over 100. So you're dividing 1.5 over 100, which gives you 0.015. So it's going to be 0.015. And because it's compounded monthly, it's going to be divided by 12. Close the parentheses. Once again, compounded monthly. And since we're doing it for 10 years, we're raising that to the power of 10. And then when we throw that into the handy dandy calculator, Hopefully I don't break the calculator, which I've been known to do. Oh, nice. So after 10 years, maybe, no, I don't think it's going to work. Oh. So after 10 years, it's going to have $11,617.25. And all you have to do to figure out for the 25 is change this 10 from 10 to 25. Maybe. And that's going to get $14,546.51. And then after 40 years, we're going to get $18,214.36. So that is how much money will be on my account after 10 years, after 25, and after 40 if you do a savings account through Capital One and at their interest rate. Now for PERT, all right, it's similar to what we did here, but it's going to be a little bit easier. So we're going to take our our principal, the money that we are depositing, $10,000. All right, so $10,000 times the little e, and the little e will be on the calculator. Aha. So if you're using a TI calculator, it'll be second ln, where it says e to the power of x. That is what we're looking for. All right. Now, if it's on a phone, if you happen to use your phone for this, it'll be that little e right there. All right. It'll be between pi and the two parentheses if you use a Android phone. If you use an iPhone and you don't have a calculator, you may be able to find one on your computer. And you may have to change it from, like for Microsoft, I can change my calculator on the computer from standard to scientific. And then on the scientific calculator, it will be right there. All right, that will be E, which is equal to 2.71. So it's like pi. It's a certain number, correct? Okay. All right. So $10,000. E. Oh, just kidding. Times E to an exponent of. All right. Now this is where you're going to do the rate. All right. Rate will be in decimal form times how many years. So 10,000 E. The rate was 1.7, so it'll be was 1.7%. So it's going to be 0.017 times. We're doing it for 10 years. So after 10 years, HSB Direct will have $11,853.05. After 25 years, they'll have $15,295.90. And after 40 years, we'll have a whole whopping $19,738.78. 0.7, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then last but not least, All right. We have City National Bank. Exclude the 5 years because we're focusing on this. Okay. That will give us 13. That's not right. I guess it is right.
That's also times 40.
Oh, thank you. I typed in the wrong number for the year. I was about to make way more money in 10 years than I should have been. So 10 years, we're making $10,725.08. 25 years, $11,912.46. And then 40 years, $13,231.30. So now what you get to do is for the 4 questions at the bottom, after you filled out your chart and got everything done, is you are going to figure out how much money. So you're going to choose the best number after 10 years, put it here. You're going to choose the best number after 40, which is generally going to be the same account, and put it there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the bigger number, divide it by the number you started with, and that will give you your savings increase percentage. Okay? So looking at this, I can already tell you doing the direct savings account, if I was opening up the savings account, would get me the best money after 10 years. So that's $11,000, $853 and $53.05, which corresponded to $19,738.78. Okay. And the percentage increase after 10 years. That can't be right.
Would you take the difference and then divide it?
I need to, you're right. So what you'll do for the percentage increase, take the difference, then divide it by 10,000. So in this case, you would do $11,853.05 minus $10,000. Then turn around and whatever answer that gets, divide that by 10,000. Which will give you a decimal, multiply that by 100. So that's a 18.53% increase. Same thing for the 40. You'll do $19,738.78 minus 10,000. All right, because we've got to figure out the difference. We got to figure out, okay, how much money has accrued outside my 10,000 in 40 years. So after 40 years, my bank has generated $9,738.78 after 40 years, which is a percentage increase of 97.39%. And that is all you do, and you will finish up part 2 and part 3 once this is done.